Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is Everybody's Business from Bloomberg Businessweek. I'm Stacey Vanek Smith.
I'm Max Chafkin. Stacey, it's the holiday season. I feel like we've been in the holiday season for a while, but it's still here.
Feels like it never ends.
It's never going to end. But you know what? Companies are finally in the black. All these retail stores, right? They depend on holiday sales.
Yep.
We're about halfway through, and now is the time when they're making money. And one of the ways they're making money, as we'll learn in one of our segments, is through these buy now, pay later loans.
Yes, one of the ways they're making money is by demanding less money.
It's odd. Amanda Mull is going to talk about that. And speaking of buying things, we're going to talk about the hot item of 2025. I'm, of course, talking about the Trump meme coin, as well as the Melania meme coin, with Zeke Faux, our colleague, crypto expert. He's coming here to talk about his new story in Businessweek about all the weird ways that crypto and politics are intersecting.
And Max, for our underrated story, you have brought us the story, and it is apparently about age-inclusive sports or something.
That's right, yeah.
Right?
It's about opening up professional sports to the elders.
To the wizened elders.
To the wizened elders.
Excellent.
All right, Stacey, it's been a couple of weeks since we've gotten any kind of economic data. Maybe I hallucinate that, but it feels like it's been a while. But now all of a sudden there's a lot of information coming out about the economy. Kind of mixed, I guess.
Yes. I mean, you're right. The government shutdown meant that a lot of government data wasn't collected and wasn't, given out. And it's hard because this is feels like a really crucial time in the economy. Things feel a little bit fragile and shaky. This week we did get some jobs information out, some of the jobs numbers. It was mixed. Yeah, I would say mixed to not great. Three major takeaways here. The first one is the unemployment rate crept up a little bit more to 4.6%. It's not good that it's been rising, but under 5% is still historically really low. So it's not terrible news, but it's not great. Also, there's a really interesting statistic in there that the share of workers working more than one job has risen to 5.7%, which is the highest it's been in 25 years. Which may point to maybe people not being able to afford things as much or having to take on multiple jobs.
Or wages being not growing as quickly as people would hope. Or maybe there's just a lot of freaking jobs in the economy and there's so many jobs.
There are different styles of working. Yeah. I think that's a really good point. That this isn't necessarily bad, that like the way we work is a little different now. But in addition to that, what you said about the hiring, I think, is the big jobs news of this year, which is that hiring is just at the lowest level it's been in years and years and years. The job market is a little bit dead, and layoffs are rising slightly. And so I think workers do not feel great about the job market. Everyone feels a little bit like they're kind of holding on to their jobs. And then in certain sectors, the only sector that's like really hiring this year was healthcare. Yeah. Everything else almost was shedding jobs or barely adding jobs. I talked with one worker for a Businessweek story, this guy, Brett Vergara. He worked at a big tech company. He was actually a project manager on an AI team. And so he thought his job was pretty safe, but then he was laid off in October. And he said right now trying to apply for jobs is really tough.
When you're just applying into the void and never hearing anything, it can definitely be tough to keep up momentum, be like, but let me do that again. And it's always fun, too, when you get a rejection, like immediately after applying something. It's like, okay, cool. It does have like this power to just completely ruin your day. I wish I was better at being able to shrug those things off, but I'm not the best at that.
Yeah.
That's a universal thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's all, whatever's going on with the economy. I think that's a feeling people have, right? This kind of you got to apply to a bunch of things cold. There's a lot of rejection.
And there's a lot of AI built into the job system now. So what he's talking about, like sometimes the second you fill out an application, they're like, nope, you don't fit this bill. So it is like kind of shocking to get a rejection. It's like you're talking immediately.
Have you ever tried to return something on Amazon and you have to talk to the chatbot? But like, you don't, it's like that, but you're applying for it.
It's like a circular
This is like
chat.
My future. And the thing on the other side of it is just like
thank you for your interest, dear applicant. And the other thing Brett said, so at the same time this is happening, he's also hearing about more and more layoffs in his field. And he said, on the one hand, it's kind of comforting because he's seeing really good people losing their jobs. It's like, okay, well, really, really great people with great skills are losing their jobs. But then also he's realizing that now they're all applying for the same jobs.
When you hear that next wave of layoffs from Amazon or like Target or Meta or Google or whatever, it's like, oh, I'm now competing against all those people immediately. And it's like, oh, we're getting put against each other, even though we're in the same circumstances or similar circumstances. But yeah, it's like, oh, all these people who I also know who are plenty qualified as well.
And he said the people he knows that do have jobs are also unhappy because they feel stuck. So it's a bad moment in the job market, I think, exactly because of the hiring numbers.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look ahead. Brighter days, maybe. 2026.
Yeah, hopefully 2026. I mean, there are some signs that 2026 might be getting better. We got good inflation numbers. Inflation seems to have come down a little. The data's a little difficult because it wasn't collected in the normal way because of the shutdown. But here's hoping that the hiring rate picks up in the new year.
All right. Well, we wanted to hear about your New Year's resolution.
Yes, it's resolution time.
So we sent Charlie Gorvin, Bloomberg reporter, out onto the streets to sort of ask people what their resolutions were, what their financial resolutions were, what their personal resolutions were, and this is what he came back with.
Do you have a resolution of any kind?
Yeah, I have a New Year's resolution. Get outside more.
Yeah, I would like to read more books.
Probably trying to better myself mentally. Smoking less weed.
We're entering 2026 with a big question mark.
I'm going to shop more.
And what are you hoping to shop for as part of your resolution?
Just whatever I need.
Well, I'm planning on getting rid of my smartphone this year, so I'm like, I'll have more time to not look at my Facebook Reels.
Because everyone says stay healthy, go to the gym, but let's see how long that lasts.
My New Year's resolution is to watch fewer Reels.
My New Year's resolution, I think that just being a city like this, grow my career, connect with old friends and new ones, I think it's something that I really want to be present for.
January is like an arbitrary number. It's an arbitrary date. Like if you want to change your life, do it tomorrow. I'm also of a certain age where I'm really just happy to be alive.
I do have to say, I love the woman who's like, my resolution is to shop more. That is the American economy saying yes.
Yeah, I'm just struck by how prominent Facebook Reels are in those responses.
Yeah. Well, I think less screen time, right?
Yeah, they want to. I was thinking maybe my resolution is going to be lots of screen time.
Oh yeah, what is your resolution?
I'm just going deep in Facebook
Shop
Reels.
more and spend more time online.
Yeah, I need to help these
less time with friends.
I need to help these trillion-dollar online, internet companies increase their per user time spent every week. I'm going to do my part.
I like that.
Because the stock market needs it.
Excellent. Well, I feel like I'm going to eat more sugar and try to spend more time inside alone. So, Max, we just heard a bunch of resolutions, and obviously, the difficult economy right now is weighing on everybody's minds.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty, and I know that the way I deal with uncertainty is by putting it off into the future, I think.
I think that's always a good plan. And in fact, a lot of people are doing that, not just with their futures, but with their finances. We've got senior reporter Amanda Mull with us. She is the author of the Buying Power column at Businessweek. Amanda, you just wrote a great article about buy now, pay later.
Yes, the topic of our times, really.
Yeah.
Or at least I would argue.
So if you don't mind first describing what buy now, pay later is, and then also just talk about what's been happening lately.
Yeah, so buy now, pay later, which is often abbreviated BNPL, is like a fintech type of business. They specialize in basically what is short-term microloans. So if you are buying a new couch, if you want a new outfit for your birthday, if you want a new handbag that you don't want to pay for right now, then what you can do at retailers that offer buy now, pay later vendors for payment is that you can split that purchase up into small payments over a short period of time. The most common type of buy now, pay later loan is a what they call pay in 4, which splits the purchase up into quarters roughly, and then you pay every 2 weeks, every week, every month. Like it depends on the terms of the lender you're dealing with. These lending decisions are made algorithmically, very quickly at the point of sale. In most cases, there's also like membership programs that some of them offer.
Also, like when you're online buying stuff, I feel like this will often come up. It would like, would you like to split this into 4
try
payments?
to get you to do this instead of putting your credit card in.
Right. And on a lot of like individual product pages that if you're looking at like a new refrigerator, it might say this is the price today or as low as however much with Affirm or with Klarna. These services are pretty widely advertised like within the shopping experience. They are part of the decision calculus for a lot of purchases in the US. And they are getting more and more popular and more difficult to understand exactly how they function within the world of consumer finance because they do not do a hard credit pull. The debt you accrue to them generally does not show up on your credit score or on your credit report. So
until you default, probably.
Yeah, until you default. They some of them might start messing with your credit history if you stop paying.
I mean, it sounds a lot like a credit card in some ways, right? Like you buy the thing and then your credit card payment comes in, and we all know how a credit card works. So if you don't pay off fully for the month, you end up paying a little bit more. Buy now, pay later. I think if you make the 4 payments, you don't pay interest. But what happens if you don't make those payments?
In a lot of cases, especially with these like 4-part loans, there's no interest. If you opt into something longer, there may be interest. The more you spread it out, the more they're going to charge you generally. And it depends on what kind of loan you take out with them as to how it works if you stop paying. Some of them will just sort of like continue trying to collect. Some of them, depending on the size of the loan and the policies of the particular lender, you may get hit with interest that wouldn't have been there otherwise. They may pursue you through the credit bureaus if they can.
Do they come try to take your fridge back, though, if you don't pay? Is it like a car loan?
No, not necessarily. They most of these loans are like fairly small for a couple $1,000s. And a lot of them are done sort of informally relative to like taking out a car loan.
At first glance, it really seems like one of these ZERP businesses.
What's that?
Zero interest rate policy. So like a bunch of tech companies got big when interest rates were really low because basically borrowing money was free. So giving away a gazillion interest-free loans to buy refrigerators is like maybe a good deal when interest rates are low, the economy is good, et cetera, but seems like not obviously like a great business to me today. And so I'm wondering like what is happening there? Like how have they managed to keep growing? And how are these businesses actually making money if they're just like giving away free money to anyone without even bothering to like check their credit?
Yeah, well, the main revenue stream that they have is that they do transaction fees with the retailers they partner with. So if you use Klarna, which is the market leader both in the US and worldwide in this type of service, it's a Swedish company, to buy a new designer handbag and it costs you $3,000. Klarna will be paid a portion of that sale, a small percentage of that sale by the retailer. And this happens with credit cards too. Interchange fees, transaction fees, swipe fees. If you use an electronic form of payment, anything other than cash really, there is a little bit of money going from the retailer to the person who processes that payment. So that is generally how they make their money. Some of them also offer longer term, larger loans that do charge interest. So they do have interest payments coming in from some of their borrowers.
So this is like an entry point to having a deeper financial relationship with you, the borrower.
Right.
Like I see this, I click on it, I buy the fridge, and then Klarna convinces me down the road to borrow some more money from them.
Yeah, and like as with any sort of like consumer choice, like getting people to do something the first time that they're not used to doing or that they're not sure if it will work is like the big thing. Once you have made a buy now, pay later purchase, you're really likely to make a second one. In a recent survey that LendingTree did of like a couple thousand buy now, pay later users, the majority of them had at some point in the past had 2 or more loans going at once. And it's definitely true that these types of lenders over-index in their customer base with types of people who are not necessarily creditworthy by traditional credit card issuer or lender standards. Their customer base, which is about 91 million people in the U.S. right now.
Whoa.
So it's a huge,
wow.
Yeah, it's grown a lot in the past several years. So their customer base tends to skew young. It tends to skew single. There's a lot of young parents that use it. There's a lot of overlap between people who are young and single and have a child. So because they don't have a credit history, they have other debt.
Or they might have be able to get a credit card with a really high interest rate, but wouldn't be able to get like great credit.
Right. And what's interesting is that in the numbers that I've seen, like the percentage of people who use buy now, pay later who have missed a payment or been late on a payment in the past year is really big, and it's growing. That same Lending Tree survey found that it was 41% of buy now, pay later borrowers in the last year had missed a payment.
Wow.
And that's
got to be way higher than a credit card.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. And it's up from 34% the year before and 31% the year before that. So people are missing more payments. However, the default rate on these is only like 2 to 3%, which is much lower than a traditional credit card, which is closer to 10%.
We talked about this when we were recapping the Black Friday sales, which were good, but there was a lot of buy now, pay later in there. And Stacey and I were kind of like trying to tease out good thing or bad thing. Is this bad or good? Like, to me, that sounds like people don't have enough money. They're spending beyond their means. You tack that on with default rates going up on credit cards, and you're like, uh-oh, this seems bad. This seems like the kind of like fintech industry has like gotten together with the retail industry to convince people to spend money that they don't have.
Yeah, I think it's something that like should be looked at as a red flag, although we don't necessarily know exactly what it means at this point. The Black Friday to Cyber Monday, or like Thanksgiving to Cyber Monday period, was enormous for buy now, pay later. It was usage of those services was up, I think 6 percentage points over last year, according to one survey. And on Cyber Monday, over $1 billion in e-commerce spending was done via buy now, pay later services in the U.S., which is the first time it's cracked $1 billion in a day. And, about 7% of all online purchases that day were buy now, pay later, which is for a type of payment plan that only really became widely available in the U.S. like 10 years ago-ish.
And really got traction during the pandemic, I think.
Yes.
I mean, it's not that old.
Yeah, it's really not that old. Some of these companies started in the 2010s. Klarna was started in Sweden and then came here in the 2010s. This is all like fairly new.
I mean, the other thing I think I've heard a lot about buy now, pay later is that some things are big purchases like couches and refrigerators, but also buy now, pay later has started to show up in things like grocery services. Yeah. And
we gotta talk about the burrito back security.
The burrito back security. I mean, people are splitting up very small purchases, which seems like another potential red flag and maybe a signal from consumers that like of distress. But what do you think?
Yeah. If you look at like the purchase of a refrigerator, the purchase of a new laptop, a new iPhone because your one just broke and you didn't plan for that expense, something like that. If you look at an option to pay it over the course of a couple of months at no interest, like that is a rational decision to make. Like I think that there are good use cases for these, especially when consumer credit card interest rates have really risen in the past several years.
Then there's the burrito.
Then there's the burritos.
Yeah. So in case people haven't followed this, like there are some DoorDash offers these buy now, pay
Instacart.
And so that has led to jokes like people are buying burritos in 4 parts. And then that has led to
groceries, which is
groceries.
worrisome.
And that has led to another level of sort of joke, which is the prospect that these finance companies that are lending you money to buy burritos are then securitizing that debt and selling them to like Goldman Sachs or something as burrito-backed securities.
Right.
Are there burrito-backed securities, Amanda Mull?
Essentially, yeah. Like, I think in a manner of speaking, yes. Because the pot of money that these lenders are drawing from is, private investors. It's private equity. It's all of these things that are how
private credit.
It's how, any company that needs a big pot of money is getting money nowadays. Klarna is a public company now. They went public in September. But a lot of these services either aren't public or they're part of like a much larger company that like isn't necessarily a bank. So it doesn't have to adhere to banking regulations and transparency. So like how much debt exists in this form and like where it is and like what it was used on and the likelihood of it getting paid back is just sort of difficult to discern, I would say.
Amanda Mull, thank you so much for talking with us. Come back later.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here now. Come back later.
All right, Stacey, we have talked about crypto a bunch this year, partly because...
It's a big story of 2025.
Big story in 2025, partly because, cryptocurrencies, the asset class, have boomed. Some of that, I think, because of hype caused by the Trump administration, and some of it because the Trump administration itself, and in particular Trump and his family members, are like making tons and tons of money.
Yeah, they're releasing their own coins.
On crypto ventures. Yeah. This is all kind of crazy. There are a bunch of crazy little angles of this. And the craziest one, I think, are these meme coins, the Trump coin. And we have in our midst Zeke Faux of Bloomberg Businessweek. He just wrote a story with Max Abelson, Donald and Melania Trump's terrible, tacky, seemingly legal meme coin adventure. Zeke is also the author of Number Go Up, which is like the best book that has been written about the weird world of crypto. And Zeke is here now. Hey, Zeke.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. So before we talk about this Trump coin, which is what your story is about, I just have to ask you, like, before Donald Trump was elected, it kind of seemed like this entire industry was going to go away. And like I think I've made this point the last time you were on this podcast, but like there were all these guys, former titans of industry who were like in prison or disgraced. And the whole industry seemed like in the doldrums. And if you wake up now and look, and like not only are they all back, but they are all in like positions of kind of power. And I'm wondering like how that happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing. The regulators in the U.S. were kind of asleep at the wheel during the last crypto boom under Biden. And then towards the end, they woke up and they said, hey, all of this like crypto trading you're doing, we don't actually think almost any of this is legal at all. And they filed big lawsuits against all of the big crypto exchanges like Coinbase, Binance. These lawsuits basically would have put the crypto industry out of business. And the industry realized they had a political problem and that there could be a political solution. And they tried two different approaches. One group raised a lot of money and they donated a lot to congressional candidates. The crypto industry actually spent more on the last election cycle than any other industry, even like oil and gas. Is that right? Yes.
More than like tech or anything, crypto.
Yeah. They spent $150 million. They spent against one senator who had said some kind of critical things about crypto, but didn't even really seem to have strong opinions about it, Sherrod Brown. They spent $40 million on his election and defeated him. He was replaced by a used car dealer with some crypto experience.
Bernie Moreno?
Yes. And
a used car entrepreneur, an owner of dealerships.
So, but there was a second group of crypto people. They said, you know what? This lobbying is all fine, but the Democrats are the ones who've gone after us. Why don't we get behind Trump? And this wing was led by some really enthusiastic Bitcoin fans. In particular, the guy who runs Bitcoin Magazine. And he runs this annual conference for every year, like 10,000 Bitcoin fans get together and talk about how cool Bitcoin is and how it's going to solve all the world's problems. And last year, he arranged a fundraiser before the conference. They got people to pledge something like $25 million to Trump. And RFK, who was then a candidate, he was supposed to be the main attraction, but he got bumped for Trump. He held this fundraiser. He came out on stage and he gave this speech in which he promised the crypto industry everything they could have hoped for. He said he would fire the head of the SEC, the one who had filed all these lawsuits against the biggest players. He said that if crypto is going to the moon, the U.S. should lead the way. And
because this was like maybe a critical time for crypto at this moment.
Well, and Trump wanted money. I mean, he wanted their support. He wanted their dollars and their votes, I think. So the industry, they get behind Trump, and I think the plan is he's gonna do a bunch of things to help them from a regulatory
perspective. And he kind of said it.
He's gonna fire Gary Gensler. He's gonna make a strategic Bitcoin reserve. He's gonna, do a bunch of stuff that's gonna be great for the industry. That's
rules.
the plan. And then there's like this thing that I think they did not entirely count on, which is that he would also enter the industry himself. So like, just before the inauguration, we get this Trump coin.
Yes. So it's inauguration weekend, and some of these crypto guys who had backed Trump put on a crypto ball in D.C. at a big auditorium just down the street from the White House. And a who's who of the crypto industry had gathered there. And Trump on Truth Social announces that he's created Trump coin. And people aren't sure what to make of it. This is a meme coin, and I want to explain what they are a little bit.
Yeah, define meme coin.
So, a lot of cryptocurrencies make promises that they're going to make finance more efficient, that they're going to make it cheaper to transfer money across borders.
Or stable coin, like they're going to be pegged to a currency.
They'll be pegged to a currency. It's like a new venture, that new trading venture, like DeFi. And a meme coin is none of that. It's a coin that transparently does not do anything. And it's just saying, hey, here I am. This is kind of fun. If people buy it, it will go up.
It's like a joke sometimes.
Okay, so my question is, and this is
on
kind
the
of
day of the cyber ball.
At the center of your story, just before the inauguration, how involved was Trump in this? I mean, like we've read a lot of stories suggesting he made a lot of money, or on paper, a huge amount of money initially, and then less money as it fell. How involved was Trump, and like who are the players in this Trump coin?
What we were told that in the weeks before inauguration down at Mar-a-Lago, there was kind of a parade of crypto guys coming through. A lot of them had donated to the inauguration, they donated to the campaign, and that there was this push to get this meme coin done. There's a belief that a president-elect's meme coin was somehow more legal than a president's meme coin.
It had to be locked into place. That's why it happened at the cyber ball.
Yes. Now, I want to say, though, there are no rules about meme coins. No one, I couldn't even tell you why a president-elect's meme coin is better than a president's meme coin, legally speaking. So something else weird happened that weekend, though, which was that when Trump announced his coin, I mean, this is by far the biggest celebrity who's ever done a meme coin. It's like, I don't know what niche hobby to compare it to, but like...
He's like the Hawk Tuah of America, is what you're saying.
So the coin really got going. It gets up to like $70
in that day.
With it on that weekend. But then something else happened that within the crypto world was viewed as a rugging.
Oh,
and
okay.
What
happened?
Was,
yeah, because how did the people at the crypto ball feel as this coin was launching? Like, are they excited? Does this feel not quite right?
The crypto ball at that time, people there were worried that Trump had been hacked. Because there was this trend of hackers getting into people's Twitter and announcing meme coins.
Oh.
There's nothing stopping you from launching your own Trump coin that has nothing to do with Trump. Like, you just call it the DJT token or whatever. And it wasn't totally clear that he was involved with it until he posted on Truth Social.
Even there was some concern that was not...
People were just like, this isn't real.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it becomes clear it's real. It's really going. And then Melania announces her own meme coin.
Okay.
And this one takes off too, but
less so. I remember.
Less so. Then it crashes, and it brings Trump coin down with it. And people
that day,
on the day the Melania launch, when the Melania crashes, Trump coin goes down too. Trump coin has not crashed as hard as Melania coin. It's down about like 90%. It's kind of been a slow...
90% is a lot down.
Melania coin is down 99%, which is a lot worse.
What was the time frame here between when the coin launched and when it lost 90/99% of its value?
Trump coin, it got all the way up. We're talking about the decline from the peak. Once it hit 70, I think within like a day of that, it lost at least half its value. All the action is that weekend. It's been much less exciting since then. So, again, a meme coin is nothing. There's never any expectation.
It's not backed by things.
That the president's going to do anything to make this meme coin valuable. The only thing he can do is talk about it. And when he started talking about his wife's coin, this is kind of like a breaking of the implicit contract with your meme coin buyers.
How come?
When you announce a meme coin, you are basically promising that you will promote that coin for at least a couple of days. You can't then start talking about your family members' coins.
Wait, so...
It's like he's taking too much from
the problem is he like promoted his coin and then immediately promoted his... It's like too many coin launches at the same time?
Yes.
Why is that breaking the code? That doesn't make any sense to me.
The meme coin thrives on attention. And if you start driving attention to some other coin...
You're splitting attention.
Yes, and also, there's only so many people that want to gamble on meme coins, and they only have so much money. Which, and I'm going to say like a lot of money, like billions of dollars, but not like trillions. So if you start telling people about a new coin...
It's not a deep market.
They're going to sell their existing coins to get in on the new one.
The view is that he got greedy, right? It's like you're getting greedy.
Yeah, so people weren't sure... I mean, it seems hard to believe, but like, did Donald and Melania speak to each other about these coins? Were these two opposing camps?
This is a little bit blowing my mind. So the problem that the crypto community felt was not that someone who was about to go into the White House had launched a crypto coin and all the potential implications of that. The problem was that he launched another coin which took attention away from that and potentially was like rugging the people who had believed in him enough to buy his coin.
Yes.
To be clear, there were people in the crypto world who hated this. In particular, the camp that Zeke brought up early on, the people who were like investing in campaigns and like they found this. There's some crypto people who didn't like this.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will say, it's a lot of people would say they found this distasteful. This isn't what crypto stands for. And now what I will note is that they were all very quick to list the meme coin on their trading platforms. And that when I think what some of them told me is that, yeah, this is kind of a helpful conflict of interest. Like Trump has made a lot of promises to us. We don't know if he's going to follow through, but now he's in on it himself.
He's got skin in the game.
He better deregulate crypto.
Right. He's got skin in the game.
Yeah.
He's got a reason. Yeah.
That's a great point and great transition because I wanted to ask you like how much money he made. And like on paper, there were some crazy estimates. It's gone down a lot. I mean, how rich did the president get and the president's wife on these two meme coins?
Yeah, so it can be a bit tricky to calculate because it's so easy to create wealth on paper. Like if I make 1 billion Zeke coins, I sell you one for $1. Now I'm a billionaire, technically. But because, and on paper, the Trumps at one point were sitting on $50 billion of meme coins.
Do they own it?
We don't know exactly what their split is with their business partners, but yes. Now, because a lot of this trading happens on the blockchain, where it can be, if you know what to look for, you can gather a lot of data about about the trading. I talked to two crypto research firms, Chainalysis and Bubble Maps. Together, they had calculated that the Trump family made more than $350 million off these two meme coins combined. And
that's a lot.
That's
like
cash.
Real
that's
money.
That coins that they've sold and turned
not on paper
into dollar, real money.
Yes. I mean, this really beats Trump sneakers, Trump guitars.
Trump fragrance. Fight did not make nearly $350,000.
Million.
Oh, million.
350 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Now Trump, he has acted, and this seems very believable, that he really does not know very much about any of this.
Well, he's old school. I mean, in fairness, it is a whole world, and it's not his world.
Yes. And so at a press conference, on his first press conference as president, he was asked about this. Then he flipped the question on the reporter and was like, how much did I make on that? And the reporter was like, Mr. President, I think like billions of dollars. The data wasn't quite so good then. And he was like, ooh, but that's nothing compared to, he was standing with like Elon Musk. He's like, billions, who cares? At a different press conference, and this was one of my favorite parts of the story, the press secretary was asked about an event, a dinner that Trump was hosting for the top buyers of his Memecoin. And she said it wasn't relevant, that he was doing that in his personal time. Like, he just clocked out for the day. He's not president anymore. Just whatever he does, who cares?
Zeke Faux, author of Number Go Up, Inside Crypto's Wild Rise and Staggering Fall. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Max. Thanks, Stacey.
Stacey, I had to share a little listener feedback that came into the Everybody's Business mailbox last week. Really fun email from Matt in regards to our conversation about Donald Trump and the difference between football and soccer.
Yes. This was when Donald Trump was like, we should call soccer football, which is very shocking.
And I was offended on behalf of all American sports chauvinists. But here's Matt. As an avid fan of the beautiful game in North America, I would welcome being able to call the sport football or football like the rest of the world. Soccer is just one more mistake we got from the British, much like imperial units, which we should have dumped in Boston Harbor along with the tea. Worth noting as well that Britain itself has since fixed both mistakes. He goes on to talk about how popular soccer is and then says the NFL, in contrast, is an American entertainment franchise and could be renamed something more catchy by their immense marketing team. Perhaps touchdown, ! Or, I don't know, desperate quarterbacks. Thanks for the fun podcast. I'll sign off.
He wants to change the name of football to desperate quarterbacks?
He wants to change it. Okay.
I don't think that's going to fly.
Matt in Seattle, sorry. Desperate quarterbacks is not good, but touchdown, ! Excellent, I think.
You think the game of football should now be called, the game of American football should now be called touchdown?
No, I am on the record saying that it's soccer and I think Matt is very confused. Like, I understand like this, there's kind of like a patriotism thing here. Like, we dumped soccer, but we have football. But like, football is also a British word. So I just think I am on the record saying it should be called the NFL should be called football.
No.
The beautiful game should be soccer. But I do like Matt's idea that touchdown.
Of touchdown? Okay.
It has to be with the ! I
mean, I just feel like football, listen, I love free trade. I mean, I think globalization is a very positive force. I am a person, I like to consider myself a cosmopolitan person, and it's just football. I don't know. Why break it?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
I feel like there's so much changing in our world right now. I just want this one thing to stay the same.
Okay. Thank you, Matt, for the email.
Yes, thank you, Matt, for the email.
Everyone, please keep writing in. Everybody's at Bloomberg.net. We really like the emails. We keep reading them.
Okay, well, while we were on the topic of sports, Max, you have an underrated story also about sports. What's your underrated story?
You're probably familiar with this problem we have in American society and in American corporations where you have these kind of older workers who are crowding out younger workers, right? Like the kind of Zoomers and millennials who feel like they can't get a job, they can't rise within the organization because there are too many old people taking their jobs. And you frequently...
Or people won't retire.
Yeah. You frequently see these very smart op-eds written in The Atlantic or Bloomberg Opinion about the gerontocracy, talking about Joe Biden being very old or Donald Trump being very old. It seems bad.
Now, I have another example of this in an unlikely area, which is professional football. I don't know if you were paying attention, but last weekend, the new quarterback, the fresh-faced quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, who is Phillip Rivers, who is 44 years old and who retired almost 5 years ago for the NFL, who got into a game last week, essentially out of desperation. And although he did not lead the team to victory, it was kind of like an honorable defeat. And he's got another starting job. He's going to be starting this weekend for the Colts as they play, I believe, the 49ers. So we're going to have a 44-year-old NFL.
I think that's great.
Is it though?
Yeah.
I mean, so this is what's weird to me. Everyone thinks it's great. And I guess it is kind of great. There's something just sort of fun, I think, about like an out of shape professional athlete. Like why
do you say he's out of shape? He is a professional athlete.
If you watch him play, you will see like he is on the older side.
He's not a scrambler.
He's definitely he's lumbering at this point, I think, in his career. But so there's this like interesting thing happening where, yes, like the physical gifts aren't there, the passes aren't great, he doesn't move very well. But a big part of being a quarterback is like understanding the offense and making smart decisions. And it's kind of like the reason why the boomer is still in that middle management job and not a millennial or a Zoomer. It's because they may be a little slower, they may not be as hip to the kids, but they understand kind of the ins and outs of the organization. But anyway, what I think is just funny is that everyone is like rooting for Phillip Rivers. And it feels like kind of discordant with the rest of the conversation on the gerontocracy. How come no one is rooting for Joe Biden when he's like slurring his words or whatever during a debate, or Donald Trump as he's falling asleep in the Oval Office? Like, I feel like we need to kind of get on one page on whether it's cool to have elderly people in jobs.
I think actually this is a big conversation that we should have. And I think we will be working later and later and longer because our health has improved, our healthcare has improved. And also like retirement is just a much different thing than it used to be. I think it's a good thing that the workplace is not. I mean, I feel like as the U.S., we're just so youth obsessed. It's always like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Like, what are the 18 to 24-year-olds buying? But the reality of like our demographics is that things should be more holistic. I think there is a place for Zoomers and a place for Boomers in the same workplace. Like, I don't think one precludes the other. I don't think it's a zero-sum game. I think we should honor older workers. I think older workers have a lot to contribute.
Well, exactly. Like, so I'm 43, 1 year younger than Phillip Rivers.
See, you've still got some years in your career.
My kids, they think like I'm pretty good at baseball. I'm pretty good at kicking the soccer ball. They think I could be a professional athlete, and they're always telling me like, oh, well, like you could be a baseball player, you could do this because, and they bring up one example, or like my son watches American Ninja Warrior and he's always telling me like, Dad, there was a 60-year-old on American Ninja Warrior, so you're fine.
See?
So this is like another data point, I guess, in that case, but I don't know. We'll see if what happens this weekend.
I do have an interesting data point that kind of backs up what your kids are saying. In the business world, there was this really interesting study done about the startups and like the most successful startups. And as it turned out, the most successful startups were started by people in their 40s.
Obviously, in the business world, the kind of like youth doesn't give you the same advantages it gives you in the NFL, where like, you need to be able to cut or whatever. And the
peel faster. And,
and the fact that even like physically limited, his sort of experience and decision making is enough to make up for that, to the point they can't find any quarterback out there anywhere anyone who just graduated from college who can compete in the NFL. Like, it tells you something that like these skills, these like maybe these soft skills.
I'm sure they could find other people, but he might just be better. He's
better.
The best.
No, I think it's. I mean, I think there's something with where the coach knows him or whatever, but still, I think there is something to the fact that like once you get down to your third string quarterback, which is where they were. You might be better off just getting a guy who was coaching high school football in Alabama for the last 5 years, which was what Phillip Rivers was doing.
This show is produced by Stacey Wong. Magnus Henriksen is our supervising producer, and Amy Keene is our executive producer. Sam Rogich handles engineering, and Dave Purcell fact-checks. Sage Bauman heads Bloomberg Podcasts. Special thanks to Jeff Muskas, Julia Rubin, Charlie Gorovin, and Maria Ling. If you have a minute, please rate and review the show. It does mean a lot to us. And if you have a story that should be our business, please email us, everybody's@bloomberg.net. That is everybody's with an S at bloomberg.net. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.